Hey, listen, guys, that's all the stuff that we've got right now, but since we're doing this live, we would be remiss not to take some questions from you guys in the chat board. So I know there's a whole bunch in there. So Chris Lee's been keeping an eye on the chat board. Chris Lee, do we got any good questions from the chat board?
We do. We have one that I thought was really interesting just because you and I were kind of talking about Spider-Man the other day. So Jonas Norden wrote, and he said, could they make an Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire crossover Spider-Man movie? And if not, could they set up a Miles Morales standalone movie, then make a crossover out of that?
No, I don't think we're ever going to see a Miles. Well, saying never is harsh. Look, for the foreseeable future, the Morales Spider-Man is not something they're going to do. Because to the general public, nobody knows who Miles Morales is. To the general public. To the comic book nerds, yes. But to the general public, Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and they're always going to keep it that way, at least for the long foreseeable future. Could they cross over? It's an interesting question, the Andrew Garfield and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I mean, it's all Sony. They own the rights. I mean, they could do it if they wanted to, but considering they're two completely different universes and two different realities and everything like that, I don't see why they would. I mean, it's an interesting question. Could they theoretically? They're both Sony. Therefore, yes, theoretically they could do it, but I don't see any benefit. Quite honestly, I don't see any desire from most people I wouldn't want to see it. I don't see the point of it, but that's just me personally. It's a very interesting question, though.
I thought so too. Let me just, sorry. Doodler93 writes, hey AMC, awesome show with Ben Affleck starring as older veteran Batman. Do you suppose the new movies will take place in present day with flashbacks of key events and first encounter of villains?
You know what? That's a great question. I was just having this conversation. I had this conversation with Dennis actually just before he left for his holiday. And I believe, yes, and here's more key to the point. I believe in Man of Steel 2, we're going to see flashbacks to Man of Steel 1. And what I think we're going to see is, as the fight between Zod and Superman is going on in Man of Steel 1, I believe they're going to insert things of Ben Affleck, Batman, rushing through the city in various situations and rescuing people and saving people from the destruction that's happening as a result of Zod attacking Superman. I believe we're going to see Batman in there. I'm going to propose, actually, even, that they might, I have nothing to base this on, total speculation, all right? I'm willing to bet, too, you know how Lois Lane found Clark? I think it was at his father's grave or something like that, and they were talking there. I'm almost willing to bet that Batman was on to Clark Kent before he ever revealed himself as Superman. And I'm almost willing to bet there's going to be a scene where we see Lois Lane and Clark Kent standing there in the father's grave where she finally confronts him, hey, I know you're the alien and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I believe back behind some building or behind some tree, you're going to see Ben Affleck. And he knew it all along and that he was there too. I bet they're going to use flashbacks to show that Batman is the greatest detective in the world, that he was onto what was going on in Metropolis with this, do-gooder going around and figured everything out before he ever got the Superman costume and took to air. I'm not willing to bet much because I'm probably dead wrong. But these are the things that dance around in my imagination. So yes, I do believe they'll do flashbacks to establish Ben Affleck as his hero without having to go into an origin story. But they'll use very skillfully put together 1 and 2 minute just flashback sequences that kind of just say, this is him being Batman as he was 21. This is him being Batman as 30. This is him now being Batman at 40. And they'll do it very quickly. No origin story needed. And I think part of that will be peppering in the events of Man of Steel 1. So let's take a couple more.
Taylor Burns wants to know if we've heard anything about Zoolander 2.
Man, right up there.
I know.
With Incredibles. I love Zoolander. I love Zoolander. Because what does she say when they're sitting around, toasting whatever? And she goes, I grew up and I realized I was bulimic. And then Owen Wilson's like, you can read minds? Zoolander has so many quotable moments. I love that. Hey, you better listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool guy. Come on. That movie is so gold.
So good.
Honestly, I don't know how Ben Stiller has made some of the crap that he's made. And I love Ben Stiller. I think he's made some great movies. But he's also, everybody has a bad day at the office. He's made a couple of crap ones. Like, remember the Watch? It was called The Neighborhood Watch, when he just did with Jonah Hill.
So bad.
With the aliens. So terrible.
Bad.
Ben, how do you make that movie instead of making Zoolander 2? People want to see Zoolander 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as of what I know Affleck has had a script written. Or an Affleck. Ben Stiller. That's the other Ben we're still talking about. Ben Stiller is Batman. So I know Stiller had a script, and he was working on it, and they were looking to get the financing together, and they were going to be putting it together, and they said, I'm just going to make some changes, blah, blah, blah. But that was like 2.5 years ago that I heard all that. I honestly do not know what the current status is, except that he's got this new movie coming out, and the name of it is eluding me right now, with all the posters coming out where he's walking up the side of the building, and it's him having daydreams and fantasies and whatever, and Kristen Wiig's in it with him. That's kind of his passion project that he's been wanting to get off the ground for like 10 years. So all of his attention is paid to that right now. But I really hope they do a Zoolander before he and Owen both get a little bit too old to do it. I think it would be good, because the gasoline fight, the freak gasoline fight accident, is one of my top 10 funniest moments in films in history. And I want to see Zoolander 2, but no, I don't have anything concrete about where it is or when we might get it.
So sad.
Very sad.
I would like to see another Zoolander. So a couple different people have been asking similar questions. So I'm just going to round it out with saying, do you have any idea who will be playing AntMan?
Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of a story, a little bit of history, okay? So about 3 years ago, has it been that long since we found out Edgar Wright was directing AntMan?
Mm-hmm.
About 3 years ago, I had a fairly reputable person, and I can't say who, said to me that, oh dear heavens, whenever I try to name him, his name eludes me. He won the Academy Award for The Pianist and kissed Halle Berry on stage at the Oscars.
Oh, I can never think of his name either, but he's an odd-looking duck.
And he's got the nose, and he was just, Chapboard, quick, help me out. He was just in that Predators movie as well, that Predators movie a little while ago. So Chapboard, throw it in there. Pull up his name when they mention who it is. But I heard that he was going to be Ant-Man. And I hopped on Twitter and I said, hey, look, just take this for what it's worth.
Adrian Brody, thank
you so much.
You're welcome.
And the next time I talk about this story, I'll still forget. So I was told that Adrian Brody was going to be Ant-Man, that they were landing up Adrian Brody. And I thought about it, it's like, actually, that kind of makes sense. He's an Academy Award-winning actor. He's actually kind of got the look of a nerdy scientist, but he's actually physically really in good shape at the same time, blah, 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 blah. So I hop on Twitter and say, hey, look, take this for what it's worth. But, I mean, I just heard that, I've just been told that by somebody that Adrian Brody was going to be Ant-Man. So anyway, shortly after that, I'm at Comic-Con, and Edgar Wright is actually doing a panel with me. And Edgar Wright, in no uncertain terms, was like, oh, yeah, the Adrian Brody thing. Nah. So, I mean, that's all he said. But I'm telling you, Wright, if we find out in the next month or two, if they suddenly announce Adrian Brody is Ant-Man, I'm gonna give him a big I told you so. But no, I don't think it's gonna be Adrian Brody anymore either. Obviously, the big names that always come up that people really want to see. We want to see Nathan Fillion as Ant-Man, because we want to see him in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Ant-Man would be a great fit for him. Obviously, another name that comes up a lot is Simon Pegg.
I was just gonna say that.
Because Simon Pegg has worked with Edgar for so many years, and they're best mates and all this kind of stuff. But I don't think it's going to be Simon Pegg. I don't think they're going to go that route. Honestly, I don't know. I still believe it'll be Nathan Fillion, but I'm probably wrong. I'm not so convinced about that. So I would love it to be Nathan Fillion. I think it would be a great choice. Throw some of your choices in there into the Chopboard. Tell us who you think you could see playing that type of role. But I don't think it'll be Pegg. It probably won't be Nathan Fillion. But of any names, if I had to pick one, that's the one I would still personally pick. We
just want to see Nathan Fillion as a superhero.
I just want to see him in a big blockbuster film.
Yes.
That's the dude. No other actor in Hollywood has so much geek cred and so deserves to be in like a big blockbuster franchise like that than Nathan Fillion. He deserves to be there. It's funny because me and my friends, we're actually going to have a Slither night on Wednesday, which, by the way, I hope you got the invitation to that. We're going to have a Slither night next week where we're going to watch, speaking of Nathan Fillion, and James Gunn, who is directing Guardians of the Galaxy, directed Slither. So there you go. All right, we got time for, oh my gosh, the show's already gone almost 45 minutes. Let's take one more.
Oh my goodness.
Pressure's on.
The pressure's so on for the last question, because you know what? Everything's about Batman right now. It seems like everything's about Batman.
All right, ask
and
a Batman
Avengers.
question.
But there was a great Avengers question.
As long as it's not about Christian Bale coming back as Batman, then we're totally fine.
No, actually, there was a great Avengers question. It's who would the one character be that you would bring into the Avengers that we haven't seen yet?
Oh, wow.
I just don't remember who asked it. I'm sorry.
Who would be the one Avenger that we haven't seen out there yet that I would bring into the Avengers? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's keep it within the world of possibility, i.e. not one of the characters who belongs to one of the other studios. So no Spider-Man, nobody in the X-Men universe, nobody in the Fantastic Four universe. So let's keep it within the ones that we have here. I'd say Black Panther. I'd like to see Black Panther.
Yeah.
There's just so much with the mythology with his country and vibranium. It even feels like they might have been suggesting it and hinting at him for a long time. And one of the reasons that I would really like to see him is because I think Black Panther is not one of my all-time favorite characters, but considering what he does, I think he would look awesome on screen. Action sequences with Black Panther done right would look phenomenal. For me, I would say, I mean, obviously there are a lot of other, there's a huge pantheon of Marvel characters that would all be great, I'm sure. But for all those reasons I mentioned and a few others, I would personally say Black Panther. Who would you say, Crystal?
I want a girl. I don't care which girl it is. I don't care if it's Miss Marvel. I don't care if it's Spider-Woman. I don't care if it's She-Hulk. I don't care who. I want a female.
Right.
I want a strong woman. I mean, of course, I'm always rooting for, on the other side, Wonder Woman. But if I can't get it from DC because they don't seem to have their act together yet, then I'll take it from Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't even care who it is at this point because I'm not as invested in the women in Marvel as I am in Wonder Woman. So I don't care who it is. I just want it to be a strong woman.
And it's funny because on a show last week, I think it was John Schnepp, who's a regular on our show, he actually really made a passionate statement that he really wants She-Hulk.
Yeah.
He really wants She-Hulk. I don't think they'll do She-Hulk. I don't think they'll ever do She-Hulk. But She-Hulk would definitely be a welcome addition as well. Plus, I mean, the only woman they have in the Avengers right now is not even a superpowered woman. She pulls a gun.
Well,
Bang, bang. Wah, wah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Is a very cool character. But I'd like to see a powerful character in there as well. So that's just my thing.
Cool.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us today on this very special live episode of AMC Movie Talk.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.